Our first book that we shall be reading to deepen our lore of Genshin Impact is going to, of course, naturally be the Teyvat Travel Guide. I do have all 3 volumes because I checked. No, I did not have volume 3. I had to go get volume 3 from Mr. Kuroda from Yai Publishing House. But here we go. Alrighty. Volume 1, Mondstadt Chapter. Teyvat Geographic Special Edition. Alice's Mondstadt Diaries. By the way, why is she publishing her diaries as a travel guide? Wouldn't you just call it a travel guide? Why do they have to be her diaries? It sounds so secretive. The Dalpa Gorge. The 3 Hilichurl tribes located in this valley are all densely populated. What if we built a huge spinning, ball-shaped cell in the center of the valley and threw all the Hilichurls into it? I'm sorry, what? This is how Alice's mind works. That way we might be able to generate enough energy to power all the mills in Mondstadt for at least 5 years. If we took it one step further by grinding the Hilichurls that are too old or too weak into food and feeding them to the strong ones, we might just build ourselves a perpetual motion machine that can support a huge factory like in Snezhnaya. Does she feel any worse when she finds out that they are Khanrians? Wait, how old is Alice? I don't even know how old Alice is. It seems totally feasible to me and totally humane. But when I told Miss Lisa about this idea, she just looked at me and pondered in silence for a long time, then changed the subject gracefully. Oh my god. Oh, well, I guess we see where Klee got her nature from. But I'm surprised that Lisa just kept a stoic face and moved on. I thought she would have made some innuendo for sure. Star Snatch Cliff. The Animo Archon is a bit too undisciplined for me. If I were a god, I would not have allowed my realm to look so unorganized and ragged. With enough bombs placed in proper positions, even huge cliffs like Star Snatch would crumble into dust in a second. Oh my. So she is the one who taught Klee about the bombs. With flatter terrain, Mondstadt would surely look much nicer. But that unctuous cavalry captain rejected my proposal instantly. He even asked me to stay away from Star Snatch Cliff. Okay, I did not expect this project to be quite so amusing. I also didn't expect Alice to be so unruly, which I probably should have given Klee's nature, but my word. Kaya is warning her to stay away from the cliff. Oh, I would have liked to have seen Kaya, stand up against Alice. That would have been brilliant. Windrise. Windrise is the only area in Mondstadt that has a relatively flat terrain. At the center, there is a huge oak tree. It is said that Vanessa ascended there. I searched around the tree for a long time, but did not find any launching device. I grabbed some Hilichurls nearby to put my theory to the test. Sadly, the longest flying distance was from here to the hunters' huts around Springvale. How disappointing. Calmish, calm. Just breathe. She's not in the game, she can't hurt you. Falcon Coast. My unsuccessful experiment caused quite a stir in Springvale. I'm sure it did. Catapulting Hilichurls in their direction kind of would grab their attention. So Miss Jean from the Knights of Avonius arranged someone to keep tabs on me. All I could do all day was wander around at Falcon Coast. This is such a boring place. Those stupid eagles hovering in the sky and puffed up animo slimes all bored me to death. The worst of all was that I had nothing to do. On the other hand, the Outrider girl who was sent to monitor me had quite a lot of fun with the kids. Good for you, Amber. You kept her in line. Whispering Woods. Yet another forest in Mondstadt. This Outrider named Amber seemed to know her way around this place. The explosive toy she carried around caught my attention. Of course it did. With some tweaks, I could turn it into something that could blow this forest and even the nearby mountains into smithereens easily. My proposal seems to scare her, but an explosive stuffed toy is indeed a brilliant idea. I must try it out next time. So we can blame Amber for the Jumpty Dumpties? It's all her fault. Wow. The way that she so casually talks about blowing up a forest and a mountain to literally terraform the entirety of Mondstadt is a little concerning. And the fact that she doesn't seem to understand that other people find it concerning, she's a bit worrying. She seems to be lacking... not necessarily a filter, but the ability to perceive that what she is thinking is wrong. It's amazing. Oh no, we're short. We're short something. I'll figure that out later. Bright Crown Canyon. I finally got rid of that stalker from the Knights of Favonius. Wait, which one? You mean Amber? This valley I found at the northwest coast of Cider Lake is still guarded by ancient mechanisms, but the soldiers responsible for holding the paths for the King of Gales were nowhere to be found now. I'm trying to remember where this is on the map. So there's supposed to be guards at the pass? Why? All the winds of time had left behind were the unintelligible hilichurls and silent mechanical guards. My attempt to control ruin guards with hilichurls failed as well. The guard split into pieces, and as for the fate of the hilichurl strapped onto it, I will spare you the gory details. Half the ruins were also destroyed in the process. Oh my god. She will literally wipe out the entirety of Teyvat just for her own curiosity. Wouldn't be surprised if she's the BBAG in the end and not Tsaritsa. Storm Terror's Lair. Bright Crown Canyon leads to this huge ruin of an ancient city, which was built by the cruel King of Gales, Dakarabian. The city was built in a ring shape. It seems that every resident of the city had been arranged their own spot between the inner and outer rings. Right in the center of the city was a tall tower where the King of Gales resided. The ruins of the domain of this cruel king, who once tried to control his people's lives, are now utterly deserted. I blew up a few arcades so people can climb up the tower more easily. Oh, well hey, she actually did some good with her blowing things up. Looks quite good to me. The room feels more ancient now. Oh dear. But do we have more information about Dakarabian? Because this is a piece of lore that I have completely forgotten. I mean, the name's familiar, but I think it's because there's a level up material that has Dakarabian in the name, maybe? Or is it a place on the map? I don't know. The name's familiar, so we've obviously come across this before. And we've already been to Storm Terror's lair, so I'm aware of the ruins. But I want to know more about this cruel king. Is this why Mondstadt is the city of freedom? Like, I want to delve into this history. But I don't know if it's really covered. But that's what I want to know more about. I might have to start a sub-series of just reading the wiki. So I can learn more about these things, because there's just so much I feel like everyone seems to know, but I don't. Yeah, okay, cool. We'll look into that. Volume 2, Liwe chapter. Teyvat graphic, I can totally read, guys. Geographic Special Edition, Alice's Travels in Liwe. Dihua Marsh. The northern stretch of the Bishwe River turns into a wetland. If you look south beyond the stone gate, you'll see a silver-grass marsh as far as the eye can see. At the southernmost point of the marsh is an inn perched atop a giant rock. That is the Wangshu Inn, the highest point on the entire marsh. Look south from there, and you will see the Guili Plains. You can also make out the Guyun Stone Forest across the sea. Also, there's a weirdo staying at the inn on the top floor. I don't think I've ever heard him say a single word. I'm surprised she knew about Xiao's presence. I know Alice is magical and shit, but Xiao also comes from a higher power, so I didn't think that she would catch sight of him, magical or otherwise. Lunch is a true feast at the Wangshu Inn. And also, if she's publishing these guides, why has she been so casual about weirdos? Wouldn't you have a little more professional attitude to it? Anyway, lunch is a true feast at the Wangshu Inn. The kitchen is equipped with every utensil you can imagine, perfect for getting some practical alchemy experience. On the topic of alchemy practice, I've got a few new things to test out in my search for an explosion catalyst. If everything goes smoothly, I'll spend a few more days here, then head to the Guili Plains. To what? Catapult some more hillagers? This woman. Guili Plains. In the end, I came to the Guili Plains a few days earlier than I'd originally planned. Records suggest that prior to the Archon War, this area was a thriving marketplace. The foxes and wild finches are stunning here, with furs and feathers that have a certain glow about them. But I hear that they can be pests too. Liwe locals complain that they keep eating the fruit offerings to the Geo-Archon. I wonder if that gives them a fruity aroma when roasted? Maybe I should go hunting. As long as you don't do it with bombs. They were in a strict operation at the checkpoint on the main road, but the guards who worked there are friendly people. I made a potion from some local herbs and gave it to one of them for his stutter. It cured him, but it did have some minor side effects. He now can't help but constantly imitate everyone he comes across. Oh, that's going to be great and professional in his role as a guard. Good work, Alice. Not just what they say, but the way they say it. It's uncanny how spot on his impressions are. Albedo, can you please fix that? Zuyun Cast. I'm told that somewhere amidst the misty peaks of Duancast lives an Adeptus, the exact location hidden somewhere in the ocean of cloud. Other Liyue herb gatherers claim to have seen the realm of the Adepti in all its glory, revealed before their very eyes in the clouds. Based on personal experience, I can say that overindulging on certain types of mushrooms can induce visions of a similar nature. Or someone's salty just because she didn't get to meet any Adepti. The terrain here fascinates me, it horrifies me. So many of these stone pillars look like they belong deep underground, not here on top of a mountain. That's a very good point. There is supposed to be an underground reservoir here. Part of me wonders if all the water was drawn out. If all the water was drawn out, perhaps Duancast would find itself back on the ocean floor where it belongs. I hope she means that, like, philosophically, because that's where it originated from and not because she hates it so much. My travel companion Dongli is the sternest person I know, but he seems most entertained by this theory. He won't stop laughing. What an odd fellow. Interesting. Did Dongli volunteer to accompany Alice on her journey through Liyue? Or was he conscripted in some manner? And by whom? Odd. Yaoguang Shoal. I've heard that the fog often rolls in off the sea onto Yaoguang Shoal, and when it's at its thickest, you can barely see your hand at the end of your outstretched arm. Unfortunately, I didn't make it here in time to see a foggy episode. It's a bit of a shame. There are so many lovely shells on the beach. I wonder how many of them have been there since the Archon War. I strung some of them together to make a necklace, but unfortunately, that fisherman from the inn sat on it and broke it. Every last shell brutally crushed beneath his merciless buttocks. None was spared. Not only that, but because he injured himself on the shards of broken shell, I had to pay his medical bills. And this is a published Teyvat travel guide? How did this pass muster? A giant conch shell stands on the beach where the Bishui River enters the sea. A kind old lady lives inside. Her family is said to have sailed here on the giant shell, and she spends her time rescuing shipwrecked people who end up drifting near the shore. I think that repurposing the giant shell as a self-propelled boat would make it much easier for her. It would make it much easier for her to rescue people from the sea. But after I lost control of my third prototype seashell boat and blew it up, the kind old lady decided she was not going to rescue me from the sea anymore. So not only were you trying to make a boat to help her rescue people from the sea, she had to rescue from the sea while you were doing it. That's great work, Alice, is all I can say. Guyan Stone Forest. This is a site where the Geo Archon defeated the sea monster. Interesting that you don't give it a name. Some of the great stone spears that pierce the ocean floor still tower above the surface of the sea, though many snapped long ago. The hexagonal stone pillars, formed from a conglomeration of geoenergy, are quite intriguing to look at. Viewed from above, how did you view them from above? Do you fly? One gets the impression that they were deliberately arranged in their current form to make a specific shape on the ocean's surface. Maybe that was the real reason the Geo Archon rained down destruction on the ocean floor with his stone spears. Maybe it was all just a big joke, albeit in extremely poor taste. Dongli for Liyue Harbour seems extremely knowledgeable on Liyue folklore, but I've never actually seen him come here. I can see the Wangshu Inn in the distance. I'll bet that weirdo I met there last time is still staring this way now. I'm sure Xiao is indeed keeping an eye on you. Somebody needs to. The flow of the ley lines around here is unique in all of the Liyue. Much more dynamic, somewhat unstable. It's as if a great relentless power stirs somewhere in the depths of the ocean. Perhaps it is the defeated sea monster, still writhing on the ocean floor. I doubt it, but I don't dislike your theory. Volume 3, Inazuma Chapter, Teyvat Geographical Special Edition, Alice's Inazuma Diaries. Mount Yogo. Lush sakura trees grow all over this mountain on the northern end of Narukami Island. These sakura all share roots with the largest of them, the sacred sakura, which sits on the mountain's summit. The Grand Narukami Shrine, greatest of the Inazuman shrines, is dedicated to the sacred sakura. Little Yai has been the one managing the shrine in recent years. Ah, how she's grown. It's just a shame, really, to think that I can never again make her cry as easily as I used to. No, it's Yai making people cry these days. Really, I thought that she'd quickly get drunk, start to cry, and start talking all silly, but she drank me under the table instead. I made a fool of myself in the process, and was quite thoroughly mocked for it. Getting made out to be some old woman who got what was coming to her. Bah! And here I was looking to tease that little girl a bit more too. In Azuma City, I brought a new firework formula to that Naganohara kid's place. but when he heard me talking about a new medicine that might cure his deafness, he demurred and did not accept it. This kid is ever the conservative about explosives, always diluting them to the point where they cannot cause any obvious physical changes to the environment, and always relying on the combustion of different metals to produce monotonous visual effects. And he only does tests inside his workshop? I mean, come on, where's the fun in that? Such a waste, such a waste. Now as for his daughter, Yumiya, she's an interesting young lady. We collected a lot of sweets during the festival and tried all kinds of new formulae out. That was so much fun. I didn't know that Yumiya had met Alice. Did I know this? I don't think I knew this. That seems like new knowledge to me. Okay. And then we got packed off to a deserted beach by the fire brigade. Something about new rules with which to keep the peace in Inazuma City or something similarly silly. We discussed a lot of new ideas, and she even gave me some constructive feedback. A talented kid, this one is. If the paradise I made for Klee also had one of Yumiya's firework performances, that would have been perfect. It's just a shame that grumpy general kept too close an eye on us, or else I'd have helped Yumiya improve some of her gadgets, or even spirited her away. You already have a daughter, don't steal someone else's. This reminds me of the time, not long ago, when I was preparing a medicine that would allow for flight in the Imperial kitchen. It blew up due to a mistake of mine, she admits thus, injuring a young Tengu warrior to the point where her left wing would have needed, say, half a month to recover. I wanted to help her patch the wound up, but it seems as if she's been avoiding me ever since. Well, gee, I wonder why. Well, I left her some medicine all the same, just to see how its effects would turn out. After that incident, it seems that person who spends all her time holed up in the Tenshikaku has sent some soldiers specifically to watch my every move. I mean, that's a bit much. I even apologized right to her face, but she just won't let up. She was the one who'd allowed me to conduct experiments in the Imperial kitchen in the first place, you know? Also, Miss Kamisato declined my idol group invitation for the 6th time running. What a disappointment. I'm sorry. Idol group invitation. Okay, so you want Ayaka to be part of your idol group. Who else are you giving invitations to? Oh boy, oh boy. Tatarasuna. Tatarasuna is an island chain that is naturally shaped like a ring. The mountains rise to overlook the sea, surrounding the large blast furnace in the middle. This is where Inazuman jade steel is produced, and endlessly made into the best weaponry for the highfalutin bigwigs of Inazuma. All made from the blood and bones of a defeated god. Huh, does that actually give it more potency or power? Cool. This place is a Temrio Commissioner's pride and joy, and as such, he takes extra good care of the workers and technical specialists. I was accompanied during my time at Tadarasuna by a lady named Kagami Gozen. She seems to be a leader amongst the workers there, and has an official shogunate post. Even though she's the Temrio Commission's subordinate, she very much looks like his equal in front of the workers. All of them trust and love her. I dare say that their respect for her dispatches might be even greater than what they give the shogun, but Kagami Gozen herself frowns often. Very unfriendly looking. The Tatarasuna workers are largely rootless, washed up on these shores by the waves of history. Their many tattoos and working songs set them apart, but also strengthen their mutual bonds. Like the other workers at Tatarasuna, Kagami Gozen's body has scars from high-temperature burns from Tataragami. These may be signs of short-lived or ill people in the eyes of outsiders, but here, it is how they identify family. Aw, sad but sweet at the same time. I took the liberty of modifying the Mikage furnace, throwing a few valves and panels into this. You didn't. Throwing a few valves and panels into the sea and improving the containment dome, which back then could, at best, be rated better than nothing. I wonder if those engineers from Fontaine will be pleasantly surprised. Old man Kudyo might get a little upset from production going down, but at least the furnace isn't going to go haywire from overheating. And I believe that even in the event of a war, which may soon come, the explosion should not be too large. Large according to my personal standards, of course, which means the entirety of Inazuma. Actually, might my ingenious interventions perhaps prevent war from breaking out at all? Well, I for one would be more than pleased to see the expressions on those astrologers' faces when their predictions come to naught. Ha! Yashiori Island. The clear blue skies over Yashiori Island really are a pleasant sight. Those stodgy onmyoji explained that the Raiden Shogun placed many wards over this place to prevent the corruption that seeps from the remnants of the serpent god. something like that. I'm not good with their religious jargon. As far as I can observe, those lampposts are quite interesting. Although they have the appearance of items dedicated to the Electro Archon, the techniques used to make them are quite familiar to me. Oh, whoa, would you look at that? This is supposed to be a travelogue, not some tedious academic paper. We were warmly welcomed by Washizu, the head of Higi village. The grilled fish and onigiri were great. Also, that place they call Nazuchi Beach is full of friendly pirates. It's just a shame that they couldn't stay on this island for longer. The mines on the island are busy places indeed, but the equipment they use there is quite backward. Even though the shogun put all those wards down, blocking off most of the Tatarigami's spread, many miners have still contracted chronic illnesses from prolonged exposure to the influence of those snake-boned crystals. The sakuramochi that the onmyoji brought with them are very tasty, but they're hardly the equal of the beauties that Little Yai makes. I've had sakuramochi. It's fine. I wouldn't say that it was a flavour that I would like to frequently taste on my palate, but it was suitably sweet, and I like sweet food, so it wasn't too bad. It's just there were other things I could have eaten instead. I should probably pay a visit to Asase Shrine later. I wonder how that fat cat's been doing lately. I did try to catch up with a specially crafted cage the other time, only to be stopped by that Killjoy Shrine Maiden. Which Killjoy Shrine Maiden? I don't remember what you're talking about. But that's okay. Wow, okay, so that's the end of the Teyvat travel guide. Alice is a nutjob, that much is apparent. I'm still confused as to why her personal diaries with quite this impolitic tone have been officially published. I'd like to see who okayed that, because it does not seem okay. But also, why do we stop at volume 3? Why do we stop at Inazuma? I'm assuming Alice has traversed the entirety of Teyvat many times over. So why do we not have a Teyvat travel guide for Sumeru and then Fontaine? It's odd, and not gonna lie, a little disappointing. I kind of would have liked to have seen the travel guide continue through our entire travel through Teyvat, and I'm disappointed to see that that is not the case.